We'll take some questions for the board now. Beryl on Instagram says, is it a bike for newbies? Well, Beryl, no.
What weighs a smidgen less than a Moto e-bike, packs 221 metres of torque and 165 brake horsepower into a 2.5 litre triple? The all-new Triumph Rocket 3.
Right, let's start the puppy up. This is the personalised message. What does it say? Good morning, sexy bastard. Oh yeah. Well, I'm very excited about this bike. You know, it's something different, it's something big, it's something bold. Come on then, you pissant. Fucking hell. Oh my god. This is naughty. Bloody hell. Now, I've started off on the GT. I was given it, I didn't choose it. I'd rather have the R. That's a bit more me. There's not a lot different. The GT's a bit heavier. Bloody hell, this thing, she handles as well. Yeah, I started off on the GT, it's a bit heavier, it's got a few more bits on it, fly screen, etc, etc. And the riding position is far more relaxed. It's a little bit too cruisery for me. Yeah, it doesn't feel heavy. It's quite flickable, quite intuitive. It's already making me feel at ease. Not quite elbow down. Oh my god! That is instant. You get a kind of strange extension when you open the gas up. You'll see it if Boovie does it in front. People assume or presume that a shock squats on acceleration. It doesn't. It goes the opposite. Get a bit of the old Moto Guzzi kind of side swipe when you open the throttle. Nothing too bad. The whole bike sort of shimmies to the right. Another interesting little factoid is I was quite intrigued because, you know, we haven't seen anything this ridiculous from a manufacturer for a while. Yes, we had the H2 and the H2R, which for me, you know, that was a surprise to come from a Japanese manufacturer. You know, usually so reserved, and then they wheel out the H2R. It was impressive. But no, I was chatting to the Triumph guys last night, the engineers, and I said, was there any resistance to building something so ridiculous? And they said, no, none whatsoever. And you've got to applaud that. In today's, you know, wafty snowflake society, it's refreshing. It's really flickable. It's you know, don't get me wrong, when it goes wrong, it's going to go wrong, but it's really nice and agile, which is surprising when it's, you know, longer than Chris Eads' nose. I can already tell it's not really worth going past the kind of $5,000. The last couple of thousand revs are pointless. Whoa, yeah, you got to lift. You just got to wind your neck in a bit, Fagan. Come on. Stop's okay. It's just you definitely can feel its weight when you're braking hard. I think the only slightly disappointing thing so far is its noise. It's very quiet. Yeah, usually we associate the triple with you know, when it's screaming its tits off at the top end, and of course this hasn't got a top end. It's more of a beefcake. There's nothing angry about this bike. There's nothing overwhelming or scary. You know, it's the throttle's smooth. Sure, yeah, the throttle works both ways, but it's very smooth. Fuel is nice. There's nothing intimidating at all. The only optional extra we've got on this, or the both bikes, is the heated grips, which comes standard on the GT. We haven't got, which I'm surprised at because Triumph usually do that, is shift assist, so up and down blipper shifter. We haven't got that on there, which I'd like. There we go. It's quite comfy. The back of the seat is rubbing into my coccyx a bit. That may be my jeans positioning. But you're kind of soaked into this bike. It's quite nice, quite a natural, comfy. It's like basically like sitting on the shitter and putting your hands out the pool cue like that. A slightly bent pool cue. And of course we've got the wonderful panoramas of Tenerife to indulge in during the day. And that's another point where you can feel the weight, is when you're going over bumps, and the suspension is pretty good, but you can definitely feel the rebound and compression taking a bit of a hammering. I want some more corners. Give me some corners, come on. This thing deserves it. It's kind of, you know, well, we're an hour into the journey now, and it's a bit more sedate than I was expecting, and probably more sedate than I would have liked. Here we go, come on. Definitely likes turning on the throttle, so if you're going to tip into a corner, don't just load the front. Definitely likes a bit of throttle to ease around, Captain, you know. It's such a beautiful island, and you know, I really do recommend coming here to ride a bike, even if you don't bring your own. There's plenty of hire companies, but it really is a giant pile of death waiting. You know, if something goes wrong, you're just asking, basically you're just asking for a big pint of death around the corner. There we go. Oh lovely, I just turned around this corner. Oh, I lost the front. Oh, can I have a pint of death please? Sure, 1 pint of death coming up, sir. But that's obviously, I don't want to, you know, be all negative. I'm just saying, hey you bastard, hey, another pint of death please, Nige. You know, I wouldn't say the execution is absolutely seamless, but that's a byproduct of having all this torque. You have negative torque as well, and Triumph have done a fairly decent job of tightening it up. You know, when you shut the throttle, especially when you've got shaft drive, it's going to feel a little bit snappy sometimes, and a lot of the time it's kind of covered up, it's smoothed out, but now and again you get the odd, you know, jerk, but it really is, you know, there's nothing negative about that apart from the negative torque. And in case you're wondering why we have an extra GoPro here, this is a feature of the new Triumph app that's built into the bike. Bluetooth connectivity with your phone, your camera, so you can do all the fiddling around with your GoPro, turning it on, off, settings, etc. via the joystick down here, which is a nice touch. And I will turn that on in a minute. Oh wow, I could gaze for days, you get me? Rocket band! And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. As someone actually pointed out at the coffee stop, I kind of said that I was not disappointed, I was expecting a bit more from the engine. And the fact is, we're over 2,300 meters up, which is something like 7,000 foot. And according to my maths, you're losing around about 20% power being sapped by the altitude. So it could make sense. So I'm looking forward to getting back down nearer the sea so we can try it out. But holy moly, that is it's not a view you see every day. Right, let's have it. More clouds. It's like we're flying, mate, we're flying. Yeah, I definitely love a quick shifter. I mean, you know, it's not the sporty. Whoa, he's shitting out. The folded then. It's some gravel, Nige. Yeah, it's not the sportiest, and you know, I suppose a lot of people would like the kind of old school connection you get with a bike with just a normal shifting, you know, throttling off. But I would like a shifter, I would like a blipper, just to, you know, spice things up a bit. Yeah, it's heated grips time. You also got the menu there. Yellow is minimum, off. Red is full blown, blow your hands off. I'm going for medium, I think, amber. Yeah, you know, we shouldn't be doing this really. You look at it and go, there's no way this bike is going to do what we're doing. You know, we're not even pushing it that hard. It's kind of coming intuitively. Yeah, bumpy roads, likes it so far. Now the suspension does feel very executive, very plush, well damped. It's not just some random forks, shocks chucked into a bike. You know, there's definitely some thought gone into this. I suppose when you've got a testing ground, a proof of ground like Brunswick-Thorpe in the UK, then you know, these sort of roads are going to feel pretty good. Yeah, and straight away now we've dropped a good 1,000 meters, I reckon. The motor does feel stronger. What a coincidence. Yeah, it's definitely not scary fast, it's giggly fast. It's not trying to kill you, it's trying to entertain you. Prolonged periods of time on the side of the tyre. I mean, yeah, sure, you can tell it's a bloody 300 kilo bike, but it's there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. You know, it's not making noise, it's not high at the revs, but it's, I'll tell you what, a well-ridden one of these would keep up with a lot of stuff, that's for sure.
We are up a mountain, beautiful views. Thought it'd be a good time to talk about a bit of a run around, a bit of a front to back of the new Rocket 3. Now we've got the R here, the GT is just over there out of my view, but this for me is, this is my pick of the bunch. Nice colour, better riding position, a bit more sporty, a bit more aggressive. When you consider it weighs 290 kilograms, you need decent brakes. We've got Brembo Stylomer calipers. Front, we've got some hefty old Showa forks, adjustable for rebound and compression. So in terms of electronics then, when you consider this makes 221 newton meters of torque, 165 horsepower claimed, there has to be some kind of electronical intervention and assistance. So the creme de la creme is a 6-axis IMU, and that controls everything. We've got adaptive cornering ABS, adaptive traction control, so that takes into consideration lean angle, throttle, gear, speed, etc., and works out if you need some assistance. Because, you know, let's face it, this ain't gonna take much effort to spin up. All you need is a little bit of a crack of the throttle and you're on the side of the tyre, and you will be sliding like Marco Melandri. We also have 4 riding modes: rider, rain, road and sport. There's hill hold control, cruise control. We've got USB connectors in the front, one under the seat. There is keyless ignition, which is not ideal, but for this sort of bike kind of suits it. The whole bike itself is 40 kilograms lighter than the old model. Now that was a proper old heifer. So the engine itself then, 2.5 litre triple treat. That is again all new. We've got an all new helical gearbox and an 18 litre tank, despite this monstrous thing, it's only 18 litres. And for those interested in seat height, this R is 773mm, nice and low, and the GT is 750.
And now, this is what I'm excited about. This is it for me. Look at that. So much naughtier, so much better looking than the GT. Me and Boovie have swapped. Cheers, Boovie. Love the wheels, the styling's better. Less old man, I think. Lovely. Oh, that's not very nice, Boozy. Oh yes, I like this. This is it. More aggressive, more sporty, more over the front end. Got to remember they've got the TC off. Don't want to be too hairy Mary. Whey, that was a little bit hairy. I mean, there's nothing in it. I can't tell that this weighs 3 kilograms less than the GT. They got exactly the same everything else. You know, there's no discernible difference apart from that riding position. the weird sort of rubbing that you get with the GT, or I got with the GT around the coccyx area, has vanished on this, because you're sort of pitched over the front wheel, so you're not sat back, you're not as relaxed, therefore the coccyx isn't on the pad, so therefore it isn't rubbing. Oh, she does so well on the limiter. She does sound well, boy. Oh my god. And here we are in the Park Natural in Tenerife, literally riding through the cloud. Stunning views, slightly ruined by the cloud, but wonderful, majestic nonetheless. Wow, wow. Oh man. Can't get it to spin, there's so much grip. I mean, not surprisingly given the length of it, but oh, hang on. This is what the rear brake's for. Just slam it on and the bike turns so much better. I mean, the rear brake has a big effect on a lot of track riding, a lot of races use it, but this bike right here, this loves it. I mean, you can ride without it, but there's some bikes that you can't. You have to use the rear brake to get around a corner, but this kind of tidies it up, makes it tighter. Yeah, little tip there. Fagan's tip of the day. I'd love to ride this at a 1-to-1 throttle. I'd love to. Be utterly bonkers. You know, Triumph said there's no restrictions, but of course you're not getting 100% throttle when you ask for 100% throttle, because, well, it would be unrideable. No, not unrideable. It would be a bit leery for the general public, should we say. So, just had a bit of luncheon. Soup, pumpkin and carrot soup, which is rather nice. And then some dodgy chicken to follow. Dodgy polo to follow. And a lovely dessert. I'm fuller than a fat bird's knickers. Rocket Man! Bye! There's Michael Niblett, ex-racer. That's a hero of mine, racing he was. Absolute legend. Yeah, you might remember Nibbo from the R6 Cup documentaries. He spent most of his time crashing. 2,210 metres. Roughly equates to 7,000 foot. So we're playing the fuel game. We've got 20 kilometres range left, and I think we've got about 30 kilometres actual distance to cover. I do love playing the fuel game. Well, that's boring. We made it to the petrol station. Let's see how much we can get in this puppy. Oh god. Keyless ignition. This is where it's shit, because you still got to get your fucking key out your pocket to put in the shite, innit? Oh, this is mine. Point, I've got 14 litres in the old girl. So 4 litres left in the tank. I reckon it's a bit pessimistic, this Fujima flopper. I'll tell you what, the difference in power is quite remarkable between up there and down here. You know, you couldn't really do wheelies down there or up there, and now she wants to launch for breakfast. I mean, you've got to be Kevin Carmichael or Billy McConnell to stunt this thing, but still. Well, that's it. Thank you, Rocket. Nothing out the ordinary, nothing blew my back doors off, but what a bike. Very unique. That's time for a beer. La cerveza. So then, it's the morning after, the day before, and we burn roughly around 18 litres of fuel on the new Rocket 3. Now, what have we learnt? Well, let me just start by saying
I'm bored of people saying, oh, that's not my thing, I don't like the look of it. I'm not talking about the Rocket, I'm talking about every single bike. I don't care. We do not care what you think of the looks. Utterly subjective. My job, our job, is to review the bikes objectively, and that is what we're doing. So, you know, it might not be my cup of tea, that bike might not be my cup of tea, but we're still reviewing them. Anyway, so what have we learned about the Rocket 3 then? Well, it's safe to say, as I said before, it's not the animal that I was expecting. You know, you've got this hype surrounding the biggest capacity bike, the most torque ever on a production motorcycle, and you get on it and yet you think, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is fast. It is so fast. I think the thing that surprised me is just how smooth it is. And again, when you've got that negative torque, when you close the throttle, everything is tidied up beautifully by the electronics. I still would love to ride one-to-one, because it would be an absolute riot. I'm not saying that it's been dulled down too much. Again, I know I'm obviously an experienced rider. For people that jump on this, they're going to jump on it and go, wow, like I did first of all. But the point is, it's not the absolute riotous, but it's not the riotous monster I was expecting. And as a byproduct of that, I think what also surprised me was just how easy it is to ride. It's so smooth, so fluid. You know, it weighs 290 kilos. That is insane. But you never feel it. Yes, you feel it. Okay, the only time you do feel it is when you're pushing it around, and occasionally when you get a bit of a panic brake on and all that weight goes to the front. But other than that, you never feel it. And again, the suspension, I can't stress enough just how exceptional that damping is. You know, you've got that weight and you've got the kind of idiosyncrasies that go with a bike like this. The way it smooths out roads and covers bump and masks dodgy surfaces really is one of the surprises of the bikes. Now, one of the pre-ride most frequently asked questions was, how does it compare to a Diavel? Well, it's safe to say in a straight line, over a distance, the Diavel would munch it, because it's not, you know, despite all this torque and the larger capacity figures, it's not, you know, once it gets past 4 or 5 grand, it runs out of puff and you're constantly changing gears. And I think the Diavel is derived from a superbike engine, so it's going to take a lot of beating and it will disappear into a distance. However, in the corners, despite the weight, this thing will still hustle a Diavel. You'll be surprised if you're thinking of buying a Diavel or you're weighing up the two, you get on this and you'll be surprised by just how well it handles. And I've got to say, I've never ridden a bike on a launch like this that gets this much attention. You know, it's wacky, it's weird, it's crazy, and it's exactly what it should be. And, you know, we were riding around the island stopping, and every person, you know, it's not, you know, you ride around on a Panigale V4 and people go, oh yeah, that's nice. This thing gets the crowd around you, you know, no matter what you think of it, it's a striking bike. You know, it might not be a cup of tea, but it is a striking bike, and I love what they've done with it. Me personally, I like the look of it. I genuinely like the look of it. I love the 20-spoke wheels, I love the big fat rear wheel, I love what they've done with the engine and the sort of hydroform exhaust and everything like that. The one thing I will say though, I mean, the disappointing thing is that sound. You know, it's Euro 5, it's a taste of things to come, and you know, this bike exceeds Euro 5, so whether or not that's something to do with it, but the fact is, as I said before in the vlog, we're used to these screaming Triumphs, we're used to these howling triple treats, and this thing is essentially, it's almost like a car engine, and it's a bit sad to see there's no optional extra in the accessory list at the moment. But I'll tell you what, this thing with a nice open can or a couple of nice open cans, it will finish the bike, it will make it a bit more involving, a bit more raspy, and I think that's what's missing at the moment for me. So the price tag, you probably know this already, but the R is £19,500 and the GT, with its extra touring comfort and heated grips, etc., and more adjustability in the footrest, that is £19,200. Now they'll both be available to dealers, certainly the people that have ordered them just before Christmas, but you're more than likely to get them in January. Overall, as I said, it didn't exactly blow my back doors off, but that was the hype, and I guess that could be a good thing because it is so easy to ride. It's still fun, it's still exciting, it's different, it's crazy, it's utterly ridiculous, and yet here it is. We can go out and buy a bike like this, and you have to applaud Triumph for that, really. I think you definitely need to get to a Triumph dealer and ride one, because there is nothing in this world quite like the Rocket 3.